I have had the same introduction for this video each and every single year. 16 teams, 4 rounds, one champion. This is the Stanley Cup Playoffs. And today I will be filling out my bracket for the 2025 Stanley Cup Playoffs. And I'll be honest, I really don't feel that confident this year. I am a casual these days when it does come to hockey. However, when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs, as different as the playoffs of every sport feels, the Stanley Cup playoffs, in my opinion, they are truly built different. And without further ado, let's get to the bracket. And I am 100% sure that this bracket may or may not expose the fact that I truly am a casual these days when it does come to hockey, but I always love the Stanley Cup playoffs. So here we go, starting off in the Central Division, Jets and Blues. The Jets, I am not used to seeing them up here as a 1 seed. The Jets, they have definitely overachieved, at least in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of hockey super fans could have maybe expected this, perhaps. And the Blues, they are a past champion. They've won the Stanley Cup pretty recently, but I'm going to go with the Jets to move on. Stars and Avalanche. And based off of what I know about these two teams, I really think there is no doubt that this game goes to all 7 games. And while I mentioned that, I do want to mention that I think the Jets get past the Blues in 5. Maybe 6 at the most, but I'm going to go with Jets in 5 on that one. Stars and Avalanche, without a doubt, goes 7 games. But I am going to pick the Stars to move on, even though this to me is the hardest matchup of the first round. On to the Pacific Division, Golden Knights and the Wild. The Wild, they are in the playoffs pretty consistently, but they just can't seem to get past the first round. And I think this is the same case here. I think the Golden Knights, they advance, I think, in 6 games. Kings and Oilers, I am going to say this goes to 6 games. I am going to go with the Oilers. The Oilers, they are on a redemption tour after losing Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final last year to the Panthers. I think Oilers in 6. In the Atlantic Division now, Maple Leafs and Senators. For the longest time, the Maple Leafs, they were notorious for being first round exits. And they did get over that hump recently. And I think the Maple Leafs, I think they cruise past the Senators here. I think Maple Leafs in 5. This could be a sweep, but I'll go with Maple Leafs in 5. Lightning and Panthers. The Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions, looking to repeat. And the last team who repeated, the Lightning. And I think this series will also go down to all 7 games. And this is the second hardest series of the first round behind Stars and Avalanche. But I am going to go with the Panthers. Into the Metropolitan Division now. Capitals and Canadiens. I am going to go with the Capitals. I'm going to say Capitals in 6 games the most, maybe five. Hurricanes and Devils. I'm going to go with the Hurricanes in six. On to the second round. Jets and Stars advancing to the conference finals. I have the Stars, and I'm going to say that is in 6 games. Golden Knights and Oilers. I am going to go with the Oilers in 7 games to move on to the conference finals. As the Oilers, they make hockey's Final Four. Maple Leafs and Panthers. I am going to go with. I think this one also goes to all 7 games. I think it's going to be the Panthers advancing to the conference finals. And Capitals and Hurricanes. This is another tough one. I do want to pick the Capitals. However, so far, at least on the ESPN Hockey Challenge, the Capitals have been the most popular champion pick. And a lot of the times when that happens, they don't typically win. I'm going to go with the Hurricanes in 7 games. It was a strong year for the Capitals. Alex Ovechkin, he did become the all-time leading goal scorer in NHL history, but I had the Hurricanes advancing in 7 games. And on to the conference finals. The Stars and the Oilers. I think the redemption tour for the Oilers, I think it is a couple of stops short to their destination. I am going with the Stars to advance to the Stanley Cup final, and Panthers and Hurricanes. I am going to say, by the way, I should mention Stars over Oilers. I think that's all 7 games. I think that series is going to go back and forth and be decided at the very end in game 7. Panthers and Hurricanes. I am going to go with the Hurricanes in 6 games. And now the Stanley Cup final. Stars and Hurricanes. And winning the Stanley Cup final in 6 games. I am going with the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes, to me, they have been a team that I feel like is due for a championship. The Stars, the same way. But I will say this, when I did say earlier in the video that the Stars and Avalanche is the toughest series to predict, I really mean that because I personally do think whoever wins that series between the Stars and the Avalanche is going to the Stanley Cup final. But I do have the Stars for this bracket video. But once again, whoever wins that series in the Stars and Avalanche, I think is certainly destined for the Stanley Cup final. And that will do it. Comment your predictions down below. Like, share, comment. And until next time, enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs as they begin tomorrow evening. And thank you for tuning in. And remember, Vegas is always watching.